Good afternoon. Again, this is Don Sutton, your professor of real estate here at UCLA Extension. And today I'm going to do a really short video about prospecting and how important it is to make your calendar work for you and make sure that you're actually working in the business. This goes to your chapter, I want to say it's 15, on actually getting your license and building the business and things like that. So first things first, I want you to write down the following: P.I.N. And, oh, it's on the side. P.I.N, sorry about that. What we're going to do is I'm going to show you what P.I.N means and why it's very important, okay? So P, as you can see, is in green. It's very important because it's called prospecting. Write that down. Prospecting is you're out there door knocking, DK. This goes to the slides with regards to the different types of prospecting there are. I hope you already seen that, but if you haven't, save this video and you can see it. You're out there door knocking. You're out there, you're calling or you're interacting with your sphere of influence. You are doing an open house on the weekends or during the weekdays to get more business. You are going to a local grocery store and you're handing out business cards to families, pushing strollers, saying, have you thought about buying a house? Things like that. What this is prospecting is face-to-face activity that develops business. That's the whole point of this. You can also toss in your calling of any kind. Calling your sphere, calling your database that you've developed, calling leads that you've gotten from open houses, things like that. That's all prospecting. That's 100% green money, okay? Indirect prospecting is the things that you would do outside of face-to-face. So this is, and by the way, a lot of this you can set up if you've been listening to the videos before. A lot of these things you can actually set up in advance and December for the entire year, okay? You can set up emails. One email a month is only for whatever holiday's going on that day, you know, Flag Day, I don't care. It's just to keep people under, you know, hey, I remember you, that kind of thing. And the other email, you can put a newsletter. You can design all those things during the Christmas break and have everything uploaded and set up by January 1. Set it and forget it, okay? So these are the email campaigns that you're going to do. These are the social media ads or uplinks that you do. Now, it could be an ad. I would not pay a lot of money for them. It also could be a social media article. Interest rates went up, interest rates went down, what's going on in the local real estate market. But they have to be from reliable news sources, preferably a business journal, such as Wall Street Journal, Bloomberg, whatever, you get the point. It could also be a social media announcement, such as I'm doing an open house, I just saw this great house, here's a short video, you know, that kind of thing. Whatever the case may be, that's fine. This is all indirect prospecting. This is not direct prospecting. Why? Because you're hoping someone actually interacts with you. Here, you're forced to interact with them. Because real estate is a personal business. I don't care what the Zillow CEO says, I don't care what all the gurus say, because remember, gurus are only as good as the money they actually make and the transactions they've actually done. I'm telling you right now, Zillow's been around for over 10 years and they have yet to sell a house with nobody ever seeing the inside and not using an agent. No one. They want to say that they're responsible for all these sales, but the fact of the matter is they don't do the negotiations, they don't write the contracts, they're not with you face to face, they're not holding your hand during an inspection, they're not helping you with those inspections, they're not understanding the contracts, none of that kind of stuff. So all that is a bunch of, I'm sorry to say, French bullshit, and it's just to generate money. The other things that you could be doing is doing your mailers. These are your postcards. Hey, I just listed this property. Hey, I just sold this property, whatever the case may be. Or designing and putting up your flyers and things. Most offices, most good offices, and remember when I told you about the good offices are lots of training, they have technology that will knock your socks off, and they will do a lot of these emails, social media campaigns, mailers, and postcards, everything on site, on your laptop, done in 15 minutes. They have their own designs. You don't have to worry about designing crap, none of that stuff. If you go to an office and they don't have training and they don't have a really strong technical background, you're going to be out of the business in a year. It's just not worth it, okay? So this is all your indirect prospecting, okay? And the other thing that is also part of this is indirect activity that you need to do when you're in the business. Now, let's say you have a couple of escrows open, stuff like that. You're going to have to handle some of the escrows and the paperwork involved. It's not a whole lot, but there is some. Get a transaction coordinator. A lot of offices now require them. They will not let you do your own paperwork anymore, but you still have to do some follow-up here and there. The other thing is like escrow paperwork, go to your inspections. You should always be at your inspections because you want to know what's going on at the house just as badly as your buyers do. And you're there to soften the blow, to understand, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, yeah, there's a small leak under the kitchen sink, but that's not a major thing. That's an easy fix. It's called, honey, do list. You cannot watch the football game until you do this list. And you know who's in charge of the list, okay? Inspections, there may also be, you might want to meet the appraiser. If you have the seller, I would definitely meet the appraiser with comparables that you pulled your price off of, okay? That way you can get a better price. And you know, these little things, you know, some of the things like, you know, trainings, things that you need to do, or coaching, things that you need to do in order to maintain your business. All right? And then finally, in red, as you can probably guess, and it starts with N as in negative, is the non-productive time. Okay? Prospecting is considered productive time. Indirect prospecting is not considered productive time. Non-productive time is everything else. And when I mean everything else, this is your gym time, your eating with the family, your cooking, your washing the car, you're staring at the sky rather than picking up the phone and trying to dial that client you need to talk to, those kind of things. Sleep, non-productive time. Do you still need to do this time? Yes, 100%. I mean, no argument there, okay? But the problem is that we spend a lot of our time doing non-productive things and or indirect non-productive things. We want to sit there and take the entire day to design a stupid little flyer, when if you went to the right agency to begin with, they have a template you can literally plug. The one that we're using right now in my office pulls everything from your listing right onto the flyer. Photos, your image, everything. Click. God, that was hard. What am I going to do the rest of the day? Well, what you're going to do the rest of the day is prospect, okay? Because remember, real estate is a person-to-person, face-to-face business at all times. So why is this important? The problem is that people spend a lot of time down here in non-productive stuff and indirect stuff. This is how you should break up your calendar. 70% of your time during the week should be prospecting. No exceptions. If you're full-time. If you're part-time, you have a lot of non-productive time. I don't have anything against people who do this part-time. In a way, teaching at night, even though it's at night and it's not interfering with my daytime, technically I'm kind of part-time, okay? Because full-time in real estate is about 50 to 60 hours a week, easy, not even trying. Part-time is going to be around 20 to 30 hours. That's just basically it. And a lot of the benefits of technology is handling the indirect stuff right now, the transaction coordinators, the email sets up, the social media stuff. A lot of that you can farm out in Fiverr and just say, hey, go take care of my social media. Make sure that my face is up there every other hour or so. I don't care what you do, but you still can't forget this part, okay? So whether you're full-time or part-time, doesn't matter. 75% of your time should be on prospecting, face-to-face activities, okay? I give people, the 20, honestly, it just depends. I mean, some of you have families and I get it, but about 10 to 20% should be spent on indirect prospecting activities, and I'll give you 10 to 20 on the non-productive. And the reason I'm saying that is because, some of you have families, you got kids and things like that, and I get it. I understand. You gotta make this work, okay? I 100% understand. So I'm going to try to bring this a little closer so you can see the next part without screwing up my connection here. All right, so you see that? That's a funnel. All right, and I want you to look at it as a sales funnel. In the prospecting and developing your business PowerPoint, you saw, CC, cold calling, WC, warm calling, things like that. So it's impossible to do all of it and be good at all of it. It's just not going to happen, okay? For example, I'm 6'3", 250 pounds. And if I showed up in a suit at somebody's doorstep, they would think that I'm either the FBI or the cops, and they would never open the door. And that's just the way it is, okay? So I'm intimidating the minute I walk into a door or approach a door. So door knocking for me is very, very difficult, all right? What I do to dumb it down is I wear a polo with the company logo saying blah, blah, blah real estate. Does everybody make sense with that? And I dress in simple slacks, sometimes even go in jeans and tennis shoes. And I always have something of value in my hand, whether it's local sales in the area or a new loan program if you're door knocking on apartment buildings, whatever the case may be. But if you're like me and you walk into a room and people are going, holy, dumb it down, okay? As much as I like to wear my suits and be professional looking with my clients, the fact of the matter is, at first glance, people don't think I'm a nice guy. And then they find, oh my God, he's so warm and cuddly. That kind of thing, all right? So door knocking doesn't work for me. But what does work for me is I get a lot of positive response from open houses. Even though I'm dressed up, the thing about it is that I'm not going there, hi, are you working with an agent? Do you want to sign this? Or before you see the house, I'm not like that way. Hey, what's going on? How you doing? Come on in. And I got cookies and stuff like that. And I'm, hey, grab a cookie because I don't want to eat them by myself. I don't get fat. And they start giggling and laughing. The idea is to be, very personable in your open houses. So one of the things that you need to do, and I highly recommend, especially if you're starting out, do lots of open houses. Lots of open houses, okay? And then let's say that you're pretty good on the phone like I am. I usually can call up people that have owned their home for a long time and just kind of get them to talk about buying or selling a home. So I'm going to put warm calling and cold calling up there, okay? The other thing is I'm actually really good at social media. As you probably guess, I have a lot of videos up there. Once you start looking at some of the videos of my social media, you'll see I got tons of them. So I do a lot of social media, SOM, but I also do, a majority of my business now is coming from sphere of influence. And I would say a good 70% is coming from there. And the reason I'm doing a lot of sphere of influence is I was super active in school and getting things done, and I still maintain a good relationship with my fraternity brothers, business associates, things like that. And I still go to a lot of networking events, a lot of nonprofit work. So that's all sphere of influence. Church activities, things like that. That's all sphere of influence, okay? Another one that I actually pretty am good about is I will do the mailers. And the reason I do the mailers is just to develop a territory. I have a territory in Long Beach, and I have a really good reputation in Long Beach for having a lot of really good buyers. They're ready to go, that kind of thing. So if you've seen the PowerPoint, you've seen all the different ways of prospecting. Notice that none of them, except for the mailers, is on the bottom tail of that stuff. Because this is what? Costly. These are basically relatively inexpensive. Okay, if you go back to that video, you must watch that video, because the problem is everybody wants to send out mailers and wait for the phone to call. Up here, all these others, you are going to them. When you're doing those expensive things, you're waiting for them to come to you. No, 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 no. You'll be out of the business and broke in a big hurry, okay? So why is this all important? Well, it's very, very simple. The fact of the matter is as you have these people and you develop them, you got to get them qualified and meet them like I went, the buyer appointment, if you've already seen that video. You want to do a qualification. Yay, they've qualified. And now they're out, then we have to find a home, right? Yay, we found a home. And now we've entered into escrow. We got to do all the work, the inspections and stuff like that. And every once in a while during escrow, you lose one. Like that. Recently, the most recent one I met was the buyer didn't like the HOA. He was looking at all the repairs they were doing. He didn't like the fact that there were, so many things going on at the same time. He got scared. He said, I'm canceling. And it was 3 days before the close of escrow and me getting paid. All right? So you're going to lose one. And usually you lose 1 out of 10. Just plan on it, okay? If you don't, that's great. But eventually, you're going to get a whole lot of these to get through. And now you've gotten paid, okay? It's a lot of work. And you've got to do it. When I'm not teaching, today is my last class here, live instruction at UCLA for the spring. So I have the next 9-10 weeks to really bust my butt and get a lot of this stuff done so that I can have a funnel going for the rest of the year, okay? And even into next year. Because one of the things that you have to understand is the prospecting you're doing today, when you get a client and they're like, yeah, I got a pulse, I got a job, I got a little bit of money in my 401k, I could buy a house, it's gonna be 90 days before they get it moved in. Sometimes less, sometimes you get lucky and it's just like, wow, I met this guy 6 weeks ago and he's already moved in. And it happens, it really happens, okay? But remember, there's a lot of competition out there, and there's a lot of other agents showing buyers the same house that you showed them. A lot of houses see almost 50 people or 50 families that go through before it actually goes into escrow. Doesn't matter what the timeline is. Sometimes there's an open house and you see 50 families out there looking at the house, okay? So just remember, put some real serious effort into it. And again, your calendar should look something like this. Everything's on it. It starts at 5 in the morning and goes to 10 o'clock at night every day. No exceptions. You need to block all your time out, okay? And with that, I'll go to the next video, all right? Thanks for watching.